I think it really helps sometimes to kind of show some live data, to kind of be like pod.
With the ISO.
So basically what it is Steve Jobs, kind of the owner of Apple, was kind of like, no, we're saying no to Flash, but like Flash does tons of games. We actually have 3 spots that we use Flash inside of Atlas. When we write checks, when we create barcodes, and My Cart Favorites. Those are the 3 places inside of Adilas that we use Flash. So what it does is some of them are really specific. We're actually drawing barcodes at runtime. So whatever I add in there, it basically says, I'm going to translate this into barcode, and I'm going to draw it, and then I'm going to output the barcode. Okay. On checks, well, each company has different checks, and so the positioning is completely separate on different spots, and so that's why it kind of gets into that type of stuff.
So question, so if I wanted to start printing checks straight through my Atlas, how do I set that up?
It's called expense receipts. Create a bank. You just make sure that you choose your type. You order literally a blank check.
Yeah.
Just like this?
Yep.
You want to see me doing right now? Just to kind of get us going?
Oh, because I'm going to bank this afternoon to order some checks with my logo on it, which I think this might be a.
So this is a pre-printed check. It has account name, whatever. Okay. On the back, it has all the original document, all the security stuff. It's a blank piece of paper. Other than that, it's really important to know that some of this stuff is actually magnetic ink. So you can't just take a plain piece of white paper because it doesn't have the magnetic ink on it.
So it won't stick.
Well, no. When they scan it at the bank, they literally scan it, and it looks for that magnetic ink. Okay, and it's an exact font, exact everything. That's how they can tell that it's a real check. Okay. And you can do it, but you actually have to get a printer that has magnetic ink in it, and then you would print the check out from there. We just order pre-printed checks. Basically, it has nothing on there. It's totally blank. Okay, and then what we do is we just create the information inside of Atlas, and then we virtually overlay it over the top of this. We use Flash because then we can be picture point exact, like to exact XY coordinates, and like kind of like, where do you want your pieces at?
And then you said you could just print that from anybody's printer by logging in.
Once you have the settings set so that you know where all the fields need to line up on your checks, you could virtually use any printer.
Yeah, because I'm thinking
any printer, laser, inkjet, doesn't matter.
I heard it's a lot cheaper to buy the checks.
Oh, this, just to give you an idea, like here's a ton of checks right here.
Yeah, exactly.
I bought these just for demo purposes, just for fun. Okay. And it was probably, I don't even know, 10, 15 bucks.
No way.
Something like that. So pretty cheap. So it's like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, this isn't really where we're headed, but if we're kind of on the subject, are you okay if we jump there for a minute? We'll bounce back here tomorrow tons, but we're going to quickly just kind of go pay something and stick in a check, and I'm going to print it out for you, okay? So this is technically not part of our daily thing today, but we're going to do it anyway. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I have to make sure I have the permissions. So if I go down to expense receipts, I do have the added expense receipt. I also want to check down here under my banks. Okay, I don't have bank options yet, so I'm going to have to go check some permissions real quick just to make sure I can play where I want to play. Scroll down, and I'll go to Payees and Permissions, and I'll grab my name. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to first go to the System Search, and I'm going to say, I'm scrolling down. I want expense receipts, I want deposits, and I want checks. Okay, and then I've already got vendors, which is awesome. So the next place I need to go is System Liabilities. And then I'm going to say Basic Expense, awesome. For me, I'm going to turn on Admin, which actually allows me to do stuff even after it's locked and whatnot. And we'll come down. The next place we need to go is under System Maintenance, under Banks. And here's an Add Edit Bank. Okay, I'll go bottom of the page and say Edit the Payee. Now I have all the pieces that I need to actually set this up. Are you guys trying to follow along, or did you want me to wait, or yes or no?
We're following along.
Okay.
Edit bank, yeah.
Okay, great.
We're doing it for all locations.
Yes. Okay, once we're to this level, so I'm currently on the My Favorites homepage. Probably the easiest way to get to banks is there are I still don't even have this permission turned on. This is under system reports. Hang on, I'm just going to try to make sure I have all my permissions turned on. I'm going to add one more. If you're still on that page, or if you're not, let's have you go back to that page. We're going to go to system reports and add the running bank balances as a permission.
Just 1 second. I'm just making sure. I know I have every permission turned on mine.
If you have everything turned on, sometimes that actually will discount against you. Like,
Will actually do that.
I said discount against you, but what it basically means is there's some of them that are actually a negative permission.
Silvers?
Some of the silvers are potentially negative. They're either special or limiting or negative. So you want to just kind of be careful on that kind of stuff.
Actually, pretty smart because it took me a long time to figure that out. And I kept calling and saying, why can I not do this and why is this not working for me?
Running bank balances under system reports. Then I'm going to go to the bottom and say edit that payee. Then I'm going to go home. Where do you guys want me to go? Interactive map, my favorites, or classic homepage? I can get there any way you want me to go. Why don't you tell me where to go and we will go there.
Classic?
Classic? Not a problem. So somehow get to the classic homepage, whether you're using your chooser or whatever. So under system maintenance, there's going to be a thing that says bank homepage.
One quick, on mine I have silver basic check request.
Okay, don't worry about that. We'll cover that more tomorrow. But basically, in a nutshell, really quick, a check request is also an expense receipt, but you have to add an extra level of permission. So you create it, and then it has to get approved. Like say you wanted to say, hey, I want to approve that instead of just doing that. If you're a mom and pop, you don't want to do that. That's a whole extra step. But if you're a bigger corporation and you have outside entities that are like, hey, we'd like to spend some money for this and this and this, and then you have somebody who's kind of a comptroller saying, okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Oh, no, you got to wait. Where's your documentation? Like, it's a different level of, that's what a check request is versus a normal expense receipt, okay? So bank homepage, we're going to hit go. Currently, I have one called default bank. I'm just going to click on it, and we're going to actually call this First West Denver, okay? Pretend that that's the bank name. You could technically add any of your other pieces of information. The important piece that I wanted to show you right now is this guy right here, check type, okay? Now, you could do handwritten, triplicate, check on top, check in the middle, check on the bottom. This is when you actually order your supplies from, the page is called Add Edit Bank,
Yeah, I got that.
okay? And I'm down at a place called check type.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, I'm going to keep it on check on the top because this is what this particular one is. Okay, check's on the top here, but you could technically have your check anywhere that you wanted, and we'll match that up. At the very bottom of this page, there is a little, hey, if you want to go to laser printer checks, we don't have a deal with them or anything, but like that's just where we order some of our stuff. You can literally get it from any bank. You can even use older ones like old QuickBook checks, old Peachtree checks, whatever. It's not a problem. So I'm just going to hit edit the bank. So now it's called First West Denver. That's basically the name of my bank. Now this little thing right here is where you do a setup option. Watch this. If the very first time you come in and you're doing a check, you click here and you'll get a little flash widget come up. And what it does here is that you're actually able to move some of your pieces around. Okay? If you click on something, you can literally use your arrow keys and move something around. Okay? I'm literally kind of moving that little. Basically what they are is they're different fields. As I mouse over them, it even kind of tells me what's going on. So this is Flash where you can get major interaction between you and the different pieces. Does that kind of make sense how you're kind of moving pieces around?
Oh, so this is what's on the check.
So what you would do is watch this. If I had never printed a check off of here, I would probably get it to where I think it needs to go, and I would say print test. And then I would select my printer, which just a minute, let me make sure I can find. Okay, here's the one that I'm looking for. Yeah, print. This is going to be on blank piece of paper, okay? Then what I would do is I would kind of hold it up to the light, make sure that kind of see where you're lined up at. So Santiago, this is what you'd want to do your first time. You don't want to print it out on a physical check yet, okay? And this is just the first time only. I'm just going to show you what this sample looks like here. here's a sample. You can see a bunch of the gray bars. The gray bars are the ones that I can physically move. So then I would virtually take this right here and hold it up to the light and be like, okay, looks good. Like literally, I won't have to change anything at all, okay? So I know you can't really see it, but you're trying to look through it and like, it's looking for, it has the word dollars here, it has a check value here, but I don't have any of my pieces there. So like, oh, sweet, I'm good to go, okay?
So is there a reason why my things won't move? Like I can't move anything around.
Okay, you have to go like this, watch. Click it.
Arrows.
Once you click it, then you use your arrow keys. And then once again, that's kind of in the help file / whatever's right there.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, if you did make changes, eventually you'd have to hit Save Changes. Otherwise, it doesn't remember that. But I'm fine with just the default settings. It should print out my check, no problem.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do right now, and once again, this is just, I'm not trying to go huge into expenses. I'm just trying to show you a check, okay? So watch this. I'm going to actually go like this. I'm going to say expense receipt new. And Danny, I'm going to pay you. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Awesome. How much you want?
Lots.
Lots. Okay, so basically I did a quick search for Danny. I'm going to say create the receipt, and I'm going to pay Danny. Danny, let's go $500, okay?
Wow. You cut them short there.
No problem. So basically I'm just quickly popping through this. We'll talk about more of this tomorrow, and then I'm going to come down here and say, hey, we're going to actually do a check, and the physical check number is right here, 2286. So I come right over here and I say 2286. Now you'll notice that I told it to, oh, somebody changed it. I had one ST and somebody changed it to first ST. Not a big deal, same bank, okay? But just somebody else must have been playing in there. It's not a big deal. That's kind of last cookie, like who had it. We're all administrators in here. So as soon as I say add this expense receipt, choose a location. Okay, we've got a ton of locations going on. I'm going to assign it to my location. Ready? And we'll say add that as an expense receipt. At this point, I physically have a real live expense. If I come down, because it's assigned to a bank that has set up as a printable check, it has a little button here. So I take my piece of paper right here and I stick it into the printer. Let me just stick this into the printer so it's ready to go. And I literally go like this, print check. It'll open up a little flash widget, pulls it in, says, hey, it's $500, does some calculations. It's to Danny Shuford, and it's going to be, hey, this is just for fun. If I needed to change some stuff, like say I didn't want to have the notes on it or something, I could literally just hide and show notes. Like you can interact with what's going to happen with your check, okay? Eventually I say, yes, let's do it, print it. We select the printer that you have your check loaded into, because you potentially could have multiple printers. Comes back and says, sweet, I did it. So usually what I do is I either click here or here to go return right back to it. It'll have a little printed status, some printed information. And Danny, here you go. It's right here.
That's awesome.
So just so if you want to see it, let's do this as well, just so you can kind of see the whole process. Throw it into a scanner. I jump down here so that I can actually get it. I'm kind of jumping outside of Adilas to a little wizard. Kind of basically what it does is it allows me to scan. And I do my custom settings, which has that lower DPI at 100. I say next, next, next. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to come back to Adilas, and I'm going to come up here and click on the photo piece, and I'm ready to do it. Like as soon as I hear this little magic thing go ding, where it's done, I'm going to say browse, go get it, boom. And I'm going to add it in so you guys can see exactly what I printed out on this check. Okay, so that's my keys. You hear that little tone going back across? I'll say browse. I'll go to my desktop, find my folder, and it's 21. Add the photo. I can now pull it out, and there's my check. I'll go to the gallery so you guys can see it. Okay, so physically it's Danny Shuford for $500. Expense receipt number 1. Here's the date. Here's the check number. We just basically did that whole check, right? Just like that. Santiago, that's kind of just a quick little demo.
That's all I needed to know just now.
Okay, cool.